Hello, my name is Hugh Potter, and I'm an educator at Lansing Catholic High School in Lansing, Michigan. I'd like to take a moment of your time and share a profound experience that happened in my classroom in the last semester. As a teacher of economics, I'm always looking for new and innovative ways to excite my students and help them feel the love of economics. Daunting task, I know. But during the course of the last semester, I created and implemented a new task for my students. This experience put the onus of learning on the students, and it also introduced the students to new technology and exciting ways of learning. For this experience, I wanted the students to create a personal video that embodied one of the market structures, since that is the unit we were working on. The market structures unit is by far one of the most dry units within the economics canon at Lansing Catholic High School. What I wanted to achieve in the end was a clear understanding of the differences between the 5 economic market structures within our economy. This economic structure variation combines cartels, oligopolies, monopolies, perfectly competitive markets, and monopolistic competition. What I wanted the students to do was to use one of the 3 primary components of movie generation, iMovie, PowerPoint, or Windows Movie Maker, to engage in a TPAC type growth experience. Now, TPAC is technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and content knowledge, and be able to apply those 3 components to their video and show ownership of the material and eventual understanding of a particular topic. When I first began teaching economics in a high school classroom, I was always very concerned with the central idea of how do I teach high school students the intricacies of economics while they have no interest or experience in its importance into our society. So while they may be throwing paper airplanes, I wanted them to be engaged learners yearning for truths and answers to the great economic mysteries. Now, while we all know that this can seem impossible, I believe it can happen, and based on this experience, with TPAC as the basis, I was able to discover that students are capable of great things. However, since I am not an expert in the field of digital storytelling, which is essentially where this project was going, I sought out many leaders. One struck a chord within my own personal belief system, and that was Dr. Bernard Robin of the University of Houston. And he says, digital storytelling is an educational setting in the process of creating short stories that allow students and educators to enhance their information gathering and problem-solving skills, and to facilitate the ability to work in a collaborative team. This really is amazing that the students get to work together to enhance so many learning styles in one opportunity. This can't be, but in the end, it actually was quite perfect. For this particular unit, my objective was for the students to have a working knowledge of the 5 unique structures of the market and what the differences of those structures were. To begin this process, I introduced the students to core basic information through a series of small lecture bursts to help set the stage for their own individual learning. Then I broke the students up into groups of 2, allowed them to choose their particular topic, and allowed them to find the examples within that structure so that the class would better understand. At that point, the students then began to work with technology and content to create a pedagogical result. Basically, they were to use computers and iMovie and PowerPoint to create a lesson with music, pictures, and even individual movies to help in the overall knowledge growth for the entire class. Now, while I was there to help with technology and assist in content development, they were also learning at the same time. I helped along the way, but for the most part, the students were learning on their own. In the end, the students were able to finalize their projects and eventually share them in front of the entire class with the goal of helping everybody better understand the final product. For the basis of this project, I asked the students to create a short movie, longer than 3 minutes but less than 5 minutes, to enable us to better understand each particular market structure. They were asked to create a movie using either a MacBook, an iPad, a netbook, or some other form of technology that would enable us to see what they learned. In the end, there were several surprises that came to light. First of all, students were actually really engaged in this project and had a great experience while learning about their particular market structure. I was also surprised that the students were less tech savvy than I had ever imagined they would be. My assumption was that these students had a great handle on technology, but what I learned is they had a good handle on one particular set, but beyond that were quite lacking. Some of those bumps that we encountered along the way dealt with software, hardware, amazingly enough, internet connection, as well as power strips within the classroom created bumps that we had to overcome. Though in the end, we were able to overcome these with some great projects. For example, an automotive oligopoly movie that highlighted the differences between Audi and BMW, as well as an airlines video that showed how 5 major airlines control the entire American airspace, for the most part. While the students gained great understanding during the course of this project, I also had some great findings and implications for future opportunities that I'd like to share with you. First of all, did the project go as I had planned? For the most part, it did. It had good structure. That was the result of pre-planning and trying to look for the bumps in the road ahead of time. As for what I would do differently, there are 2 specific things that I would change. Number 1, I would more evenly distribute the different groups as many groups went for the easy oligopolist market structure. And secondly, I would have an expert available to help us with technology along the way. As for major lessons learned, I was actually quite impressed that the students were capable of such great projects. I have learned that these students, when given the right opportunity, the specific tools, they can create tremendous examples of their own creation that enable us to do this in the future. And yes, I would like to do this in the future, and I'd like to share the end products with other teachers so that they as well know that this type of activity can be done and helpful for all students. As any good educator should, I reflect back on this project and I think about what I take forward. My final thoughts are this: that students, through individual action, gain ownership of a particular structure or topic and carry it forward with a great level of energy in terms of sharing the information. I also found that lots of students, and in actuality the whole class, were engaged in the process, especially the movies, because they were so entertaining. The students had different viewpoints, they had different music, they had a lot of ways in which to share their particular topic in a neat and fun way. And that takes us to the last final thought, which is that this project, in actuality, could end up being entertaining for the students, and yet they would still be learning. So as I go forth, this is definitely a project I would recommend to other individuals, this idea of digital storytelling, which is transferable to almost any content area at any grade level, which allows multiple students to benefit from this type of learning environment. Thank you for your time, and good luck.